Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a Planning Commission meeting for December 7th, 2021. I confirm that there is a quorum. We need to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. You guys, I read them. Anyone have a motion to approve? Mark makes a motion to approve. Second. All in favor? Unanimous. It's unanimous. Okay. The same copy. Oh, I have to give you a sign.
Oh, yeah, you're
I think I signed the right one. Can you check it?
You, yeah, yes.
Okay. The first item on the agenda is rezoning request by Martin Velazquez for 51, 61, and 71 West Fame Street. It's proposed to go from C2, which is general commercial, to R2, or I'm sorry, proposed to go to C2 from R2, which is medium residential. And we have a staff analysis. Are you going to read that?
The parcels are more suitable for commercial use due to surrounding parcels currently zoned commercial. And this is Jeff's staff analysis. So he says, I don't foresee the rezone of these parcels adversely affecting the value of the nearby properties. And for number 3, whether the property to be affected by the proposed amendment can be used as currently zoned, not for commercial. And number 4, whether the proposed amendment, if adopted, would result in a use which would or could cause an excessive or burdensome use of existing streets, schools, sewers, water, resources, police, and fire protection, or other utilities. He does not foresee any with proposed commercial zoning. Number 5, whether the subject property under the proposed amendment is in conformity with the policies intent of the adopted joint comprehension plan for Fannin County and the cities of Blue Ridge, McCaysville, and Morganton as amended. Yes, joint comprehension plan intent for the parcel shows to build out as commercial. And number 6, whether there are other conditions or transitional patterns affecting the use and development of the subject property, if applicable, which give grounds either for approval or disapproval of the proposed amendment. He does not foresee any. His conclusion is, if there is any upgrades to water and sewer or street needed to serve future build to parcels BR 01-129, BR 01-12901, and BR 1-12902, it would be at owner's expense.
Okay. Who is someone here to represent you? Okay.
I am.
All right.
You
On
go
the
to
third
the-
string.
Can you make it to the board?
Yeah. I'm the third string. It's supposed to be my daughter here representing the last places, but,
You have to turn that mic on. On the top, I think there's a, it's on.
can you hear me?
Is it on? It's really
I
low.
think it was
Hello?
okay. We can hear you.
You want me to yell?
I think it's on.
Anyway, this family has 23 restaurants in Atlanta.
What type of restaurant?
It's La Paria. I don't know if you've heard of La Paria, one of my favorite Mexican restaurants. And they also have a business to sell meat and all kinds of restaurant supplies. And they plan to put some kind of restaurant up there. I'm not sure that it's a La Paria. I would hope it is, but I don't know that. And the parcels are surrounded it was commercial and it's surrounded all by,
Commercial.
yeah, I mean, so it was residential surrounded by commercial property, so. And there's also been an easement given to go through the parking lot for egress to the parking lot with, Kazuna and Body Place.
Any questions?
That's all I have.
Yeah, I was wondering about the access to it, because it's terrible there to get up on Plain Street, property.
Yes, and they have paid for an access.
Yeah, I drove up there, they already,
So-
they have
so-
direct
so-
access. to
Yeah.
the property.
Tipton owns that, or the guy that owns the Body Place and all that's giving them right
He
through?
gave them a right of way.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah, so that won't be, that'll be easy to get into.
It'll be easy
Yeah.
to get in and out there.
yeah, I was concerned about that too,
Yeah.
when I drove around. and
Okay,
They've already torn
yeah,
down their
I see
own.
they was burning something today, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay,
That's it.
that's it. Is there anyone here opposing this?
At Richard Arnold, East Second Street. I'm not opposing it, but like Angie said, the easement, my only concern is it gonna be like, more like a road that would go around to connect to West Main Street? Or is it gonna, are you gonna have to come through the parking lot to get to West Main Street, to go down to where, was it Blue Ridge Realty and the chiropractor? So in other words, is it gonna be an actual access road to come around the restaurant? If it's
No,
not, it should be.
She just said it's
The other way.
coming in from the backside.
Well, I know,
From
but
the
what I'm
back.
saying is, if you come in from Home Depot side or
That's right.
Bodyplex, are you gonna come into a parking lot to the restaurant, or are you gonna have it like an access road that'll go around the restaurant to West Main Street to get down to Blue Ridge Realty and the chiropractor and all that? Or,
I have no idea.
So,
but you see what I'm saying? In other words, are you gonna pull into a parking lot and have to maneuver around the parking lot? Or are you gonna have easy access to where West Main Street ends?
well, that would come up when they submit their plans.
Okay,
And, you know, go through that process. We just decide if it's
right.
okay to change the zoning.
I just wanna make it public record.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. I agree with you. And,
Cause it'd be easy to do.
yeah, and if they have 23 restaurants, they're gonna do what's best.
It already looks better since they tore everything down.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, my experience with developers like that is that they know how to handle it, and they do what's best for their customers' ease of use. They don't wanna make it hard.
Right.
So I'm sure when that site plan comes before the city. they'll-
Okay, thanks.
Was your concern it coming, Main Street coming on to 5 there by
Yes,
McDonald's?
because I go to Dr. Thuzy anyway,
Yeah,
and I have to go up to the real estate company from time to time, and it's hell trying to turn
and
it.
it's terrible, yeah.
Somebody gonna
There's
get
a lot
killed
of
there.
traffic. It's bad, there's the.
So it'd be
turn
nice
lane.
to have a back way to get in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
well, that may help,
Yes, yes.
you know, that's gonna help everybody in the
Yeah.
area.
I think that's Richard's point, is that it would give everyone a chance to
Yeah.
go out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Have a different access.
All right. Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
So moved. Approved.
Approve. Okay,
Can you make that motion? He can't make one.
I can't, but he's making.
Oh, he made it,
but-
okay, so.
But we do
okay.
need to add this to your motion at conclusion.
And if there are any upgrades to water and sewer or street needed to serve future build to parcels that are outlined here, the 4 parcels on Main Street, it would be at owner's expense.
Okay, so we want to make that part of the
Yep.
For the motion.
motion.
Yep.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Cindy. Vote, all in favor? Aye.
Yep.
Unanimous? Approved?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cinco de Mayo.
What?
Cinco de Mayo.
Does he finish? My daughter's Kristen now, she was the. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
All right.
I don't know what to leave now.
Yes. Thank you.
Next Next on the agenda is, next on the agenda is a special land use request by Abigail Ingalls for 529 East Second Street. And you want to read the staff analysis?
Sure. Number one, whether the proposed amendment would allow a use that is generally suitable for the site when compared to other possible uses, and the uses and zoning of adjacent and nearby properties, yes. Number two, whether the proposed amendment would adversely affect the economic value or uses of the adjacent and nearby properties, it could. Number three, whether the property to be affected by the proposed amendment can be used as currently zoned, no. Currently, nightly rentals are not allowed in the residential zoning without a special land use permit. Number four, whether the proposed amendment, if adopted, would result in use which would or could cause an excessive or burdensome use of existing streets, schools, sewers, water, resources, police, and fire protection or other utilities. It could police. Number five, whether the subject property under the proposed amendment is in conformity with the policies and intent of the adopted joint comprehension plan for Fannin County and the cities of Blue Ridge, McCaysville, and Morganton as amended. Yes, it is. Number six, whether there are other conditions or transitional patterns affecting the use and development of the subject property, if applicable, which give grounds either for approval or disapproval of the proposed amendment. Property joining said property currently is zoned residential. Conclusion, he has a permit. He put, I have no objection with owner being issued a special land use permit.
All right, is there someone here to present this case?
Yes. I'm Amber Henderson here for Georgia Mountain Cabin Rentals on behalf of Abigail Ingalls. Can you see me? She purchased it at the end of September for short-term rentals. We are locally here in the area. We manage 5 other of her properties, and as well as 45 other properties in the county for short-term rentals. And the previous owner did have a special land use permit for short-term rentals.
So this was one that came before us before, I think.
She purchased it in September.
No, but
Okay.
I thought that someone came before us with that house, so with the previous owner.
Possibly, but my owner purchased it at the beginning of October, if I'm not
If I
mistaken.
remember right, we denied it. The council overthrew it.
It's the same one.
Do you have any questions? So did she know that she would have to go through this process when she bought it?
Semi, yes. But obviously, it was already on our rental program with Willow Creek when she purchased it.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
I think it's interesting that you got duplexes on, next to it. You got C1 directly across the street, and R3 across the street, where you could put a bed and breakfast, or in C1 you could put,
I don't think you can, R3, you can do bed and breakfast.
yeah, at least that's what the ordinance says, that I read earlier today. So, I mean, it's, you can't, the way it's zoned right now, but the interesting thing is, the
So
property.
let's get into that when we have our discussion.
Sorry about that.
If that's all right, no, because I have some things to add, if you don't mind.
Yep.
And did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Is there anyone here opposed, Richard?
As most of y'all know, I live 2 blocks away from this house. I was here for the last one for when it got done. I make my living off of short-term rentals and real estate. I could have sold 10 houses in Blue Ridge to short-term rentals over the last 2 years if I could have put them in short-term rental. I cannot believe that it's actually being rented right now as a short-term rental when you sell a property, the law says that you cannot continue in short-term rental. The only reason the previous owners were able to get a short-term rental was because they came down here when Kelsey was the clerk, she made a mistake, took their money, and in essence created a binding contract between the previous owners They did not, y'all denied it. They came down here and proved their case, and they were able to keep it in as a short-term rental. I don't have anything against short-term rentals. I make my living off of them. But a law's a law. If you can't do it, I don't believe y'all have approved not one short-term rental special use permit in the city since that short-term rental ordinance went into effect. I don't agree with it, but it's the law.
I mean, our board,
Do what?
yeah, well, I don't think we've approved it.
I don't think you've approved not one
No,
short-term
we
rental.
haven't.
Short-term rentals are in CBD only. Like I said, I could have sold 10 houses in Blue Ridge if I could have sold them. The agent should have told them, that owner, that they could not have short-term rentals in it. And the short-term rental people should know that you can't have short-term rentals in residential. They're violating the law right now because they've been renting it out since September.
We actually have not been renting it out.
Okay, I retract that statement.
We're not the police.
Sorry.
But the notice that was in the paper about this hearing stated that they had a short-term rental company managing it, and I went, how? Why should they? Because they hadn't even been approved. And so I oppose it on the grounds that it's against the ordinance, and if you approve this, you're opening Pandora's box. And that is going against what the people of the citizens of Blue Ridge voted for, not to have short-term rentals in residential.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I didn't catch your name.
Richard Arnold, I live at East Second Street, 2 blocks away
What's
from
the
this.
last name?
Arnold,
Thank you.
like the pig.
I don't know if I'd go with that, Richard.
Well, that's Green Acres, so most people don't even remember it.
Yeah. Anyone else opposed? Okay. We will, let's have a discussion here, so now, you got it.
I just question how arbitrary things are. You know, spot zoning is one thing. Land use, special land use is another thing. If you had a residential neighborhood, that this was in the middle of it and everything else around it was strictly residential and whatever, I would say I would absolutely be against it. But that's not the case over there. I drove by there before I came over here this evening to look at it. And directly across the street from it is a building, it looks like a commercial building. And it's would be the north side of Nestor. On the south side is another, but that's one side of that C1, the other side's R3. If the current zoning map that I looked at is accurate, when you're on the property, the one directly to the north of it is duplexes. The one next to it comes down and butts into this property, and that is a different zoning, where according to the ordinance, you could put a bed and breakfast. So I don't see that it's.
Well, the staff analysis, the staff,
I mean, is everything strictly cut and dried, or is there any way
Well,
for?
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it. Okay, these people get a special use permit, then the neighbors want it. Then pretty soon it's all the way down to Richard's house, because you gave it to them, why aren't you giving it to us? I happen to live right up here on West First Street, kitty corner from the Black Sheep, and I think about this all the time. So, my neighbors, Tammy and Dwayne, they had a chance to sell their house for a lot of money, but because they couldn't do short, and they're right across the street from the dogwood. So they said, you know, maybe they could come and get a special, so they got it there. Then the guy who just bought the house up from them, he'd say, why can't I have it? The next thing you know, I'm surrounded by a short term, and I know I can make a lot more money selling my house to a short, but I don't want that. I live in a residential neighborhood. So where do you stop? I mean, I just don't agree with this special use permit to do that. I mean, we have lines, and lines are drawn, and
I
zoning.
don't argue that as long as it's already pure.
Well, I know, but we can't live by the mistakes of the past. You know, we gotta, you know, I just feel very, very strongly about, you know, where do you stop? You know, I mean, you can't, if we allow that, I mean, we've turned down everyone that's come before us, and a lot of change you can, I mean, but I'm just so afraid that it'll just spread like wildfire, and it ruins cities.
The residential people doesn't, I mean, the people that actually live here, those people buying here, that's a problem. The people that's next to home, they're retired and they're next to them, they don't, you know, a lot of them don't own it. So, I mean,
I know you do this for a living, but I know there are issues with rentals. I mean, I have good friends that live in mountaintops, and the people next door rent their cabin, and goes there every weekend and asks them, please, don't be so loud, turn down the music, because these people are up here to party. You know, not everybody, but a lot. So I don't know.
Is there
Short-term rentals allowed in the central business district.
is there a rule against renting a house long-term? And
You can rent it long-term.
so you get a horrific renter in there, that's,
It'd be the same as a horrific owner, you know, if you got someone that's a bad owner, I mean, you don't know that. So, what are we looking at?
he's second. They don't have streets.
It shows some of them, yeah, West,
you find Messer, it comes right into the center of the lot.
East Second, right here, right here.
It's right at the top of Messer Street.
Right, yeah, so here's,
Where's Messer?
right
That's
here.
Mountain Street.
no, yeah, here's Messer,
Messer
and
goes
East Second,
right
right here,
in the center of the lot.
yeah.
So this is R3,
Mhm.
R3, and that's
Yeah, I mean-
R1.
Jeff's staff analysis says everything surrounding is residential.
Well, if you don't count across the street,
Well, yeah,
It's saying it's R3.
across the street from me is Black Sheep. You know, it's just.
I got apartments in my same block, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
it's,
This is it right
Here is,
No,
This is-
no,
here's Messer right here,
here's East Second.
and
So
here's East
it's
Second,
this long piece right here.
yeah,
It's
here.
that,
Yeah.
it's right at the end of the road.
yeah.
I don't know, it's my opinion. But this is all residential.
Oh, I know it is.
Whether it's,
I mean, on one side it might be R3, but on the other side it's R1.
Yeah.
right.
And then that goes
it's
down
R-
toward my house.
It's R3 next to it, but that's still residential.
Right.
It's not central business district.
And I still say you're opening Pandora's box. You do it.
I agree with you on that.
I mean, y'all even denied Nathan Pitt.
I remember that.
92.
So,
The other issue I have is like, when real estate agents are selling these properties and they do not disclose this, is wrong. And I know that's not none of your problem. It's not your problem.
but if you're gonna speak, do you have anything else you wanna add?
So I can't confirm or deny what the real
Right.
estate agent told.
Right.
There are other short-term rentals close by to this one. One's right on Messer Street. I don't know where it falls into. That's not mine. I just know that it's a rental.
That's CBD on Messenger.
Yeah, I'm not real sure.
It's in central business district. So I don't know, do we have any other discussion? But I agree with you on both points. Pandora's box and real estate agents. And you
I are one.
And you are one, yeah.
Well, my opinion has not changed since the last time we had this discussion. I mean, I think we hashed it out pretty good the last time. And, I mean, the law was set, the law was made. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, we need to do all we can to protect the residential areas and keep them free from rentals.
Yeah, I think the council actually tried to change this and get the special use thing out of it. They didn't really want it, but the attorney had, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
to put it in or
exactly.
something. But I think, did it get?
But we're still on them.
I think it.
We're still on them.
Yeah, no, I think because I think we got made a.
All All right, do we have a motion?
because of that last situation.
Do we have a motion
Yeah.
either way?
I'll make a motion that we deny this request.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Mary, seconded by Cindy. Vote for the motion to deny. Okay, that was unanimous. Denied. However, a second hearing on this is scheduled for December 21st at 5 PM. And that's before the council.
Okay.
And they have final say. And
Is that what it was?
what?
December 21st, is that
So
what it
it's- so they-
was? Okay,
Who's the next council meeting?
21st.
okay, that is it. Okay.
I just read it.
Oh, this is third.
Third.
All right, any other business? I do have one thing to say. You have to step down.
Yeah,
As a, whatever you
yeah,
call it.
this will be the last.
I saw Brian Higgins put in an application. Who makes that decision? Like who appointed?
One of the
you?
council members.
I think Rhonda.
Rhonda appointed you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'd like to see
Yeah,
him.
Nathan-
I know
Nathan
Rhonda's
appointed.
supports them, because she, I think, she sent.
Okay, well, he put in the
Yeah.
application, I saw that and I was happy about it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not happy that you're leaving.
How long's the term for y'all?
You know, I don't even know. I've been here like 8 years.
No, you haven't.
It's
No. You
Not
haven't.
as chairman. but
Right, that's,
I've been doing it at least 7 years.
you been up there 4 years? haven't you?
Actually, you know what, no, actually, you know what, this is.
How long
this
ago
is-
were you and I originally on?
The council,
Yeah, yeah, Rhonda's can recommend, they can
Because-
recommend, council does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, the-
Angie, weren't you on it and I was on it before you? Okay, so that was 12 years.
Yeah, I know. Actually, when the baby.
I remember Pat Walker was on the board. and-
but you came off a while, didn't you? Oh.
Yeah, that's right,
Okay.
but stay 4 years, yeah.
I went from
yeah.
Board of
Yeah.
Appeals to planning. Oh, someone did kick me off, but then they put it back
Thank you for your service.
on. All right,
Thank you.
do I get the park and
So,
veterans back?
motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, sorry.
Thank you.
All good. All right, thank you.
Mark, what's your last name?
Engelblau, E-N-G-L-E, E is in dog, O-W.
Like the pig.
Hold on a second. Okay.
It's an
Who's second, the what? Was it you?
I did,
The end?
Yes, there.
China's so good. China's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, little boy.
Yeah.